Are we sitting comfortably, my darlings? Marvellous. So I realised, Thomas, I went through this with you. But James, I know it's James I got to the end. I never got to the end with Thomas. So, my favourite book ever. That's not entirely my favourite book ever, but it's one. It's a very good one to begin with. Chapter 1, in which we are introduced to Whinnie the Pooh and some bees, and the story begins. Here is Edward Bear coming down the stairs now. Bump, bump, bump. On the back of his head, behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming down the stairs, but sometimes he feels that really is another way if he can stop bumping and think for a moment, and then he feels perhaps there isn't. Anyway, here he is at the bottom, ready to be introduced to you. Whinnie the Pooh. When I heard first his name, I said, "Are you going to say, 'But I thought he was a boy'?" "So did I," said Christopher Robin. "Why don't you call him Whinnie?" "I don't. But you said that he's Whinnie the Pooh. Don't you know what 'the' means?" "Ah, yes, now I do," I said quickly. "I hope you do too, because that's all the explanation you're going to get. Sometimes Whinnie the Pooh likes a game of sort when he comes downstairs, and sometimes he likes to sit quietly in front of the fire and listen to a story. This evening." "What's the story about?" asked Christopher Robin. "What's a story about?" I said. "Could you very sweetly tell Whinnie the Pooh?" "I suppose I could," I said. "What sort of stories does he like?" "About himself. Because he's that sort of bear." "I see. So, could you very sweetly?" "I'll try," I said. So I tried. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, about last Friday, Whinnie the Pooh lived in a forest all by himself under the name of Sanders. "What does under the name mean?" asked Christopher Robin. "It means he had the name over the door in gold letters and lived under it." Whinnie the Pooh wasn't quite sure, said Christopher Robin. "Now I am," I said in a growly voice. "Then I will go on," said I. One day he was out walking and came to an open place in the middle of the forest, and in the middle of this place was a large oak tree, and from the top of the tree there came a loud buzzing noise. Whinnie the Pooh sat down in front of the tree, put his head between his paws and began to think. First of all he said to himself, "That buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing and buzzing without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise, and the only reason for making a buzzing noise that I know of is that you're a bee." Apparently I've dropped it down the sofa. Oh, it's doing well, isn't it? Brilliant, marvellous, excellent, fantastic. Oh, there you are. Marvellous. Saved it from the back of the sofa. Where were we? Ah, yes. The only reason I know for the buzzing. Oh no, and then he thought for another long time and he said, "The only reason there being a bee that I know of is making honey." Then he got up and said, "And the only reason for making honey is so that I can eat it." And he began to climb the tree. He climbed and he climbed and he climbed. And then as he climbed, he climbed. He sang a little song to himself. It went like this. "Isn't it funny how bees like honey? Buzz, 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 I wonder why he does. Isn't it funny how bees like honey? Buzz, 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 I wonder why he does." Then he climbed a little further and a little further and just a little further. By that time he thought of another song. "It's a very funny thought that if bees were bears and they built their nests at the bottom of trees, and that being so, if the bees were bears, we shouldn't have to climb all these stairs. It's a very funny thought that if bears were bees and they built their nests at the bottom of trees, and that it being so, if bees were bears, we shouldn't have to climb all these stairs." He was going... I need to put this down. I can't do it. Right, where are you going? You're going over here. Marvellous! Oh, there you go. Under the plants. There we go. Okay, that works. sort of. Oh yes. He was getting rather tired by this time, so that is why he sang a complaining song. He was nearly there now, and he just stood on the branch. Crack. "Oh, help," said Pooh as he dropped 10 feet to the branch below him. "If only I hadn't," he said as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. "You see, what I meant to do," he explained as he turned head over heels and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. "What I meant to do, of course it was rather," he admitted, and slithered very quickly through the next 6 branches. "It all comes, I suppose." He admitted. "No, it all comes, I suppose," he decided. Then he said goodbye to the last branch, spun round 3 times, and gracefully flew into a gorse bush. "Oh, liking honey so much. Oh, help." He crawled out of the gorse bush, pricked the prickles from his nose, and began to think again. And the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. "Was that me?" said Christopher Robin in an awed voice, hardly daring to believe it. "That was you." Christopher Robin said nothing. His eyes got larger and larger, and his face got pinker and pinker. So Whinnie the Pooh went round to his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. "Good morning, Christopher Robin," he said. "Good morning, Whinnie the Pooh," said he. "I wonder if you've got such thing as a balloon about you." "A balloon?" "Yes, I said to myself coming along, I wonder if Christopher Robin has such thing as a balloon about him. And I said it to myself thinking of a balloon and wondering." "What do you want a balloon for?" said you. Whinnie the Pooh looked round to see if nobody was listening. Then he put his paw to his mouth and said in a deep whisper, "Honey!" "But you don't get honey with balloons." "I do," said Pooh. "Well, it just happens that I've been to a party the day before at the house of your friend Piglet, and you had balloons at the party. So you had a big green balloon, and one of Rabbit's relations had a big blue one, and you left it behind. And being too young to go to the party at all, so you had brought home the green one and the blue one home with you. Which one would you like?" you asked Pooh. He put his head between his paws and thought very carefully. "It's like this," he said. "When you go after honey with balloons, the great thing is not to let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you are only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have a blue balloon, they might think you are only part of the sky and not notice you. The question is, which is more likely?" "Wouldn't they notice you underneath the balloon?" you asked. "They might, or they might not," said Whinnie the Pooh. "You never can tell with bees." He thought a moment and said, "I shall try to look like a small black cloud and deceive them." "Then you better have the blue balloon," said you. And so it was decided. You both went out with the blue balloon and took your gun with you, just in case, as you always did. Whinnie the Pooh went to a very muddy place that he knew of, and rolled and rolled and rolled till he was all black all over. And then when the balloon was blown up as big as you and Pooh, and both holding onto the string, you let go, and suddenly Pooh Bear floated gracefully up to the sky and stayed there, level with the top of the tree, about 20 feet away from it. "Hooray!" you shouted. "Isn't that fine?" shouted Whinnie the Pooh down to you. "What do I look like?" "You look like a bear holding a balloon," said you. "Not," Pooh said anxiously, "like a small black cloud in a blue sky?" "Not very much." "Oh, well, perhaps from up here it looks different. And, as I say, you never can tell with bees." There was no wind to blow him nearer to the tree, so there he stayed. He could have seen the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a while he called down to you. "Christopher Robin," he said in a loud whisper. "Hello." "I think the bees suspect something." "What sort of thing?" "I don't know, but something tells me they're suspicious." "Perhaps they think you're after their honey." "It may be that. You never can tell with bees." There was another little silence, and then he called down to you again. "Christopher Robin!" "Yes." "You have an umbrella about your house? I think so. I would like you to bring it out here and walk up and down with it and look up every now and again and then say, tut tut, it looks like rain. I think if you did that, it would help the deception that we're practicing with these bees. Well, you laughed to yourself, silly old bear. But you didn't say it out loud because you were so fond of him and you went home for your umbrella. Oh, there you are, called down Whinnie the Pooh as soon as you got back to the tree. I was beginning to get anxious. I've discovered the bees are definitely suspicious. I shall put my umbrella up, said you. Yes, but wait a moment. We must be practical. It is important for the bees to deceive the queen bee. See, can you see which the queen bee is from down there? No. Pity. Well, now if you walk up and down with your umbrella, saying, tut tut, it looks like rain, I shall do what I can by singing a little black cloud song, such as a clown might sing. Go! So whilst you walked up and down and wondered if it would rain, Whinnie the Pooh sang this song. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. It makes me very proud to be a little cloud. How sweet the little cloud floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. It makes him very proud to be a little cloud. Bees are still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them, indeed, left their nests and flew around the cloud as if it began the second verse of this song. One of the bees sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment and then got up again. Christopher, ow! Robin, called the cloud. Yes? I've just been thinking. I've come to a very important decision. These are the wrong sort of bees. Are they? Quite the wrong sort. I should think they would make the wrong sort of honey, shouldn't you? Would they? Yes. So I think I shall come down. How? Asked you. Whinnie the Pooh hadn't thought about this. If he let go of the string, he would fall. Bump. And he didn't like the idea of that. So he thought for a long time and then he said, Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun? Of course I have. You said. But if I do that, it will spoil the balloons, you said. But if you don't, said Pooh, then I shall have to let it go, and that would spoil me. When you put it like this, that was how you aimed it very carefully at the balloon and fired. Ow! Said Pooh. Did I miss? You asked. You didn't exactly miss, said Pooh, but you missed the balloon. I'm so sorry, said you, and fired again, and this time you hit the balloon, and the air came out slowly, and Whinnie the Pooh floated down to the ground. But his arms were so stiff from holding onto the strings of the balloon that by the time they were there, they stayed up straight in the air for more than a week. And whenever a fly came and settled on his nose, he had to blow it off. And I think, I'm not sure, that is why he was always called Pooh. Is that the end of the story? Asked Christopher Robin. It's the end of that one. There are others. About Pooh and me. And Piglet and Rabbit and all of you. Don't you remember? I do remember, but then when I try to remember, I forget. That day when Pooh and Piglet tried to catch a heffalump. No, they didn't, did they? No. Pooh couldn't because he doesn't have any brain. Did I catch it? Well, that comes into the story. Christopher Robin nodded. I do remember, he said, only Pooh doesn't very well, so that's why he likes having to be told to him again, because then the story's real and it's not just remembering. That's just how I feel, I said. Christopher Robin gave a deep sigh, picked up his bear by the legs and walked off to the door, trailing Pooh behind him. And at the door he turned and said, Coming to see me have my bear? I might, I said. I didn't hurt him when I shot him, did I? Not a bit. He nodded and went out, and in the moment he heard Whinnie the Pooh bump, 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 going up the stairs behind him. Get some sleep. Good night. Or good morning.